Shoo. What did you eat for breakfast this morning? Holy cow, kid. Dang it. You stink.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to The Right Line. I'm Chad, and today I'm going to bring up one of the off-road great debates. Gasket or not to gasket? That's the question. We are back from the Rubicon Trail, and today I want to address basically my only casualty. So one of the things I've noticed when it comes to debate in the off-road world, and it drew a particularly interesting feedback when I posted on my social media account, is whether it's better to RTV a differential cover or gasket a differential cover. Now, everybody's going to have a differing opinion of this topic, but what I'm going to share with you is only my opinion from my experience, and that's all. I've been off-roading a really long time, and I have sealed a lot of differential covers before. And what I have found is RTV may not be the best choice. So RTV is messy. And if you don't get these gasket surfaces impeccably clean, it's gonna leak. If you catch this differential cover on a rock and it's sealed with RTV, it's gonna leak. If you gasket, on the other hand, it won't leak. I have always used gaskets on my differential covers, and I have never had one leak because of a gasket failure. Now, this is a Lube Locker, and I've heard a lot about this. I've never used Lube Locker before. The only reason why I picked Lube Locker was because when I was trying to find the Felpro gasket for the 444 differential cover, this is the first thing that popped up. There was a lot of hype, so I thought I'd give it a shot. You just gotta work at it. Oh, what's not coming off?
That's inside the
Threads?
Yeah.
Well, do your best. Try to get it as clean as you can, okay? Uh-oh, I just threw that in the oil. Oops!
So why are there orange rings around the gasket, Dad?
It's a bit of a sealer that it has on there.
So instead of putting that black gunk on there that would normally be put on in the factory? But you're not using RTV?
No, RTV sucks.
And why is that?
Well,
Because it's so messy?
one, it's messy. Two, if you're off-roading and you catch a rock with your diff cover, it breaks the seal of that RTV and then it's gonna leak.
And if it leaks, then that's not good?
Well, if it leaks, you got a mess. You got oil everywhere. Or you got oil dripping out anyway. And you, A, don't want that dripping out on the trail.
Unless you have a cleanup kit.
Well,
Properly dispose of it.
right. And B, you don't want that leaking on your garage floor either.
Oh yeah, that would definitely not be good.
in my opinion, a gasket is a by far better way to go
Than RTV.
than RTV.
So would you say to anyone who's replacing or doing this that don't use RTV and put a gasket on there?
Well, you know, I'm not going to tell anybody how to work on their vehicle. I'm just going to share my
Opinion?
experience. And in my experience, off-roading all these years and resealing many differential covers, is that RTV does not necessarily seal the best. And the problem is, off-road, if you bump this cover on a rock after having sealed it with RTV, there is a chance that that will break the seal on your differential cover and it will start to weep. Versus doing the same thing with a gasket, you're by far less likely to have a problem and have a leak. To each his own. I would much rather pay for a gasket and change it than struggle with RTV. Now this Lube Locker says it's good for about 5 or 6 applications, meaning you can take it out, put it back together, and it's good for about 5 or 6 seals. I don't necessarily care about that. I just want it not to leak now.
So it's just basically your own personal opinion of what you think.
Sure. It's just my opinion.
Someone might prefer using RTV and someone might prefer using a gasket.
Exactly.
We're almost done.
Pretty much. We're going to torque these cover bolts. Oh, here's something interesting about the oil inside here. The oil that's inside this housing not only lubes the locker and the bearings and the pinion and the ring that are in here, but it also lubes the bearings that are down here.
Really?
The wheel bearings, yep. So oil trickles down this tube. You can't see it because the shock is in the way, but the axle bearing that's down there, the oil lubes that bearing as well. This is what they call a semi-float rear axle versus a full float rear axle.
So what happens if the semi-float breaks on the trail?
Well, if you break a semi-float axle on the trail, you better darn well have a replacement, because with a semi-float axle, the weight of the vehicle is being supported on the axle shaft, not the bearings. Not the bearing that's down there in the end of the axle tube there, and in the end of the axle tube down here. Okay, that's a semi-float axle. A full float axle has a set of bearings, 2 bearings down here on the end of that, and the weight of the vehicle is on the bearings, not the axle shaft. On a full float axle, you can pull the axle shafts out and drive out, and you're perfectly fine. All right, so the torque for these cover bolts is 30 pounds. Because you don't want to torque down one part of the cover gasket more than the other, because you could create a leak.
Oh, so basically what you're saying is, like, for an example, if you put 2 pieces of bread together and you squish one half of it down, whatever's inside of it will leak out the other end. Or if you push down the corners on the bread, it'll leak out through the center, and you don't want that.
Right. I like to use the Valvoline full synthetic 175-140 gear oil. That's what I like to use in my diff. So this takes 2.38 quarts, and you never quite get all of it in, but what I like about this TerraFlex cover is that it has a high pinion fill hole and a low pinion fill hole. And if you fill from the top fill hole, you're more likely to get the appropriate amount of oil in there.
You know, even though it's hot out here, it's still nice to work on something.
It's cool, right? It's fun.
Yeah, get your hands dirty.
Get your hands dirty. That's what I like to hear. All right, everybody, we are finished. We got Chewy resealed here in the rear 44 and got all full of oil. We are all set to go. I want to thank everybody who subscribed to my channel. We are now well over 1,000 subscribers. The channel is now monetized, and what I tried to do is minimize the ads and all the content to just the front and the back of the videos. If you think that the ads are too much, let me know down in the comments below. I know those of you who follow me on social media have probably seen a lot of my Midland radio posts online, but I wouldn't be sharing a lot of information about Midland unless I thought that they were top-notch. In fact, it's my preferred radio out on the trail. And if you look down in the description below, there is a promo code for Midland to save you a few dollars. Thanks so much for watching. I hope everybody enjoyed the Rubicon video. That Rubicon video is doing fantastic. From the views and the likes, it looks like you guys are really enjoying that. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. Make sure your notification bell is turned on so you get notifications of all my content. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you again next time.